Welcome and thank you for standing by. At this time, all participants are in a listen-only mode. To ask a question during the question-and-answer session, please press star 1. Today's conference is being recorded. If you have any objections, you may disconnect at this time. Now I will turn the call over to Ms. Lorraine Fernandez. Ma'am, you may begin.
Thank you, and good day to everyone. Many thanks for joining us here on our call today, as we're doing the first of our series of webinars, particularly for the IBM Initiate install base, but for our MDM customers and the healthcare community in general, to address the fact that there is a lot of conversation going on today, irrespective of which country or which continent you happen to work in, live in, be a consumer to healthcare in, because transforming healthcare is important to each of us in a myriad of ways. So the webinar series that you're joining today, and you'll see on the slide we have 2 more planned for November and December, as well as others planned in the first quarter of 2013, are going to highlight the role and the investment perhaps that you've made in master data management, with addressing perhaps your patient domain as the first area of interest. Many of you on the line may also be using our technology to address the provider domain of master data management, and we'll explore other issues. So we're starting this series today with discussing the Clinical Hub and MDM, and specifically operational analytics. You can also join this conversation through our MDM blog and IBM's Big Data blog. You see that the links for those are included in this slide and are available for you, obviously, anytime, any day you want to join our conversation. So it's with great pleasure today that our speaker is Dr. Scott Schumacher, who is the Chief Scientist for InfoSphere's MDM portfolio. Many of you know Scott and myself from our years of working with the Initiate technology, and we joined the IBM fold about 2.5 years ago. So Scott serves as the Chief Scientist for MDM and is a distinguished engineer at IBM. A few housekeeping details before I turn the program over to Scott. We will take questions via audio at the end of this call. We will also take questions throughout the webinar that you can submit via the chat room. So I'll make sure that those questions are queued up for Scott and perhaps the product management team that is also joining us, Deanna Noel and Joaquin Neto, and we'll address those at the end of our webinar. You'll notice in the chat room I posted instructions or information about how you were able to get the slides or the audio next week following our webinar. So Scott, with that, I'll turn the program over to you to enlighten us about MDM, Clinical Hub, and operational analytics.
All right. Thank you, Lorraine, and good morning to everyone, or good afternoon, depending upon where you are. One of the things that we always start with is that the usual disclaimer. So this is the legal requirements for having these discussions, and then what we're going to talk about here are products in development and future plans, and so we keep in mind that those things can in fact change and often do, but the discussion today is really around how we are using MDM to support really what we think of as a new type of analytics. And this slide shows that sort of the standard stuff would be that your people are all aware of are population-based analytics, and these are things that are usually satisfied by data warehouses that combine some clinical information, patient demographic information, financial information, other operational information, perhaps supplies, et cetera, that allows people to do queries and reports, typically retrospectively. These are, the standard data warehouse retrospectively, how many people were in last month, et cetera, reimbursement information at that. So that, and with certainly the changes in healthcare, accountable care organizations, and other sort of shared risk models, those become very, very important to know how much money you're spending on a particular operation, how much revenue you're getting for different pieces of this. So those are very important things, and I think most of our customers are moving along the lines of creating some sort of a data warehouse to support that. Sort of on the other extreme for that are patient analytics, and that's really sort of in the doctor's office treating a patient, and that's basically done with EHRs or other technologies that way. So is there a drug interaction? But that's at a patient level, and that's a physician treating it. Well, it seemed to us when we started talking to many of you, or many of our clients, that perhaps there was something slightly in between there. And what we're calling that is operational analytics in the sense that it's like the MDM, like the EMPI. It's in a real-time setup or near real-time, feeding off of messages that you have. But it's asking questions really sort of between these two population and individual patient areas, which is really going around cohorts. What patients are similar, and what capabilities does that give me if I can, in real time operationally, ask questions such as, if I have a particular patient in front of me, what other patients that we have seen over the last 5 years are clinically similar to that? So being able to bring out statistics around cohorts and being able to search around cohorts for that one. And there's a lot of different ways to use that once you have it is, what can you say about, treatment characteristics for a group of similar patients? How can you analyze those? So if you then get back to the issue of once I've